everybody, Aaron Cowan with Sage Dynamics. In this video, I want to talk about handheld to weapon-mounted light transitions. Sage Dynamics was started in 2011 with an overriding goal to provide the most realistic training possible. My personal background, I was an 11 Bravo in the infantry, went into the Army at the age of 17 years old. Spent 3 years active duty, a transition to National Guard after that. Spent some brief time as a contractor, security contractor. Then I went into federal law enforcement. I worked for the Department of Defense, first as a patrol officer and then later as a training officer. After that, I transitioned almost exclusively full-time to private training while still maintaining a role as a reserve police officer. My primary experience with low light really didn't start until after I left the Army. In law enforcement, that's where it's a 24-hour-a-day business. Low light is a very important thing because we need information, and light provides that for us. When I started teaching citizens in self-defense, I recognized that the handheld light not only could provide them data if they chose not to carry a weapon-mounted light, but it was also an excellent deterrent. And I recognized the fact that it was a deterrent for law enforcement officers, but for the everyday citizen as well. That handheld light not only can potentially deter a threat, but it also provides you with instant access to data without the need to draw your firearm, or really you probably shouldn't be drawing your firearm in a lot of administrative situations. So that handheld light is going to give you the information that you need. The problem that sometimes can arise is it's a training and a practice gap that some people have, or maybe they haven't considered, is how to make a clean and effective transition from a handheld administrative or searching function, or even a controlling function of an unknown individual, to the weapon-mounted light on the handgun. Whenever I'm in a twilight type environment, either natural or man-made, when the sunset, twilight, anytime I not be able to see full color or depth of field, or in a scotopic environment when it's actually dark and maybe ambient lighting isn't in my areas, I just have the flashlight in my hand. I'm not necessarily using it, it's not necessarily on, but it's just there and it's ready to be accessed, ready to be used. Either in a citizen setting, off-duty setting, or a duty setting where I'm responding to a call. The light's accessible, the light's ready to go, I'm ready to use it. If you think about from a citizen standpoint, if you make unknown contact with an individual, it's very easy to be able to activate the light, establish initial control, then you can take the light off, be like, oh man, I'm sorry I put the light in your eyes, can I help you with something? That initial deterrent can potentially, just like it's in the word, potentially deter what could become a situation. Being able to immediately access your light, control unknown individuals, can help prevent certain situations from taking place. In the law enforcement aspect, sometimes we're struggling for a light when we realize we need it, when there's really no overriding reason why you couldn't have it in your hand, accessible and ready to go. I'm a big fan of a retention device, an active retention device on the light, which is getting us to where we're talking about, is being able to transition from this handheld smoothly to my weapon-mounted light if the need for the firearm arises. With the carry of a weapon-mounted light, the transition that needs to take place, it probably is going to occur quickly because you're realizing that you have a need, an immediate need for your firearm. Being able to retain the light instead of ditching it is going to be the best solution for the problem. Sure, I could stick it in my mouth or try to put it under my arm or stuff it quickly back in a pocket, but then that might restrict my ability to access my firearm as fast as I may need to. One thing that you're going to have to rely on when transitioning from the handheld light to the weapon-mounted light, you got to think about your draw stroke. If you're in a duty rig, then it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. You just go through the normal process. If you're carrying concealed, appendix, strong side, small to back, it's going to be a one-handed draw stroke. My personal feeling is a two-handed draw stroke from concealment is usually going to be a luxury. That other hand may be busy doing something. In this case, it's going to be working my administrative or my handheld flashlight. So my technique for my one-handed draw stroke definitely needs to be something that I work into my practice regimen so I make sure I'm proficient. It's not necessarily going to be as fast as your two-handed clearance technique, but it can be efficient. I'm using my light, and in whatever fashion I'm using it in, whatever my standard default is. Once I recognize the need for the firearm, I can go ahead and clear, and as soon as I'm able to access that gun, I may have to take my first or second shot from a neck index or a grip position or a Harry's or whatever your chosen technique is. At that point, I need to get this light out of the way as well as I'm able. Since I have a retention device on mine, I just simply roll it out of the way, roll my weapon light on, and establish my traditional two-handed grip. At this point, I can shoot my engagement if that's actually what needs to take place. I can get compliance if that's what's taking place. Once it's time to actually work back to a low ready or come off of my target, I now have a secondary light source available to me if I need it. I can go back to one-handed shooting, and if I need a second light source to get another person away from me, prevent a crowd from forming, whatever the situation may be, that's now accessible. If I had to ditch this light, it might not necessarily be there as a tool. In the event that I don't have a retention device for my weapon light, I'm gonna go to two-handed shooting on my carry firearm. I'm gonna use my weapon-mounted light. I gotta ditch my handheld light. Like I said, going back to the pocket is gonna take time. Sticking it under the arm may not work, sticking it in your mouth may not work. If I have to ditch the light, one thing I wanna make sure is I'm not ditching a light that's on. I want to make sure I ditch a light that's off. It's down, I go to two-handed shooting. Yes, I did just give up a light source, but as long as it's not on, it shouldn't create a situation or backsplash or backlight me to my threat. Once I'm able to recover that light, it's easy enough to use the spill of my weapon-mounted light if it's that dark. To find it, I can step back, okay, there's my light, I can get my foot on it, I'm able to bend down, pick it up, and now I've recovered that light source if I need it. Overall concepts and principles here. Have a technique in mind. I would highly recommend a retention device in mind for your handheld light. Build that competence and that skill set with your one-handed draw stroke techniques, and then work in plans for recovery of your light, or if you are going to use a retention device, get used to the idea and used to the feeling during dry fire and live fire practice of that light being present during your manipulations, your reloads, your malfunction clearances, and being able to access the light to clear additional information.